name is Trish Waltman, and I'm the owner and creator of Vision Art Designs, which is an inspirational collage with a cause. And when I saw what Terry Grau was doing with Enchanted Makeovers, I really wanted to offer some of my art because I've been told it's very healing and has a really good energy. So this is the first one I made. And I heard peacocks were going to be a theme, so I wanted some of those elements in the tube that I made. What I do with these is it all starts with an old frame and a pile of magazine clippings. And then what I do is arrange the images and some of the bigger words first, and then go through the rest of my piles of magazine clippings, which is really fun to do, by the way. If you ever want to make one of these, anyone can do this. So, but the message here, because this is going to be in the creative room, is taking the time for yourself to cultivate the gifts that you were given, because we were all given gifts. Everybody has one, and it doesn't matter what it is as long as you use it to help other people. I think that's why we're all here. So this is the first one, and here's number 2. I really like this one because I found this picture of an albino peacock, and there's a regular peacock here too, and the idea of being a peacock is to show your feathers and show how beautiful that you are. And I just thought it was ironic that there is such a thing as an albino peacock, because what does he show? But that is definitely the point, because even if you are a peacock and you don't have the colorful feathers, it's very important to just be yourself. So you're different, so what? You know, we're all different. So that is the main message in this one, is that even if you are a bit different, it doesn't matter. You still have gifts, and I want this room that these are going to hang in for everyone to come into, be drawn in, and be inspired and encouraged to cultivate their gifts. So this is all cut out of magazines and then cut again. I mean, people think this is like, wow, I mean, this must have taken hours. Well, it actually does, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this is just the way that I want it to be. You would never have to take all the time to cut everything into perfect squares or anything like that. That's just what I do. And I didn't want it to yellow with time in the room, which is why I put this clear plastic coating over everything. So, and then it gave it another really cool element, because you can see what is behind my clipping. So you kind of got to get really close on some of them to see what it actually says. So that becomes like a puzzle. So it's already, I mean, to me, mesmerizing enough, because there's just tiny print some places and big print. You get different messages every day. Every day you look at this, you're going to see something different, because you're going to read in a different direction. You get a different message. So if you could look at this every day for a year, and you're going to see something different that you didn't see before, or read it the way you read it the day before. So that's kind of the really cool thing about it. So I hope these hang well in the creative room at the Detroit Mission Ministries. I'm honored that these would hang there. I'm so pleased that Terry took these, and couldn't be happier to give them away. And I hope it brings lots of good energy. Thanks. Here's the new color of the frames. Now we have that blue underneath, so I will probably sand that down and it'll just be a nice softer blue. These paintings look valuable, but I checked, they're not. Okay, so how I started making these collages, it all started with The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I saw her on Oprah, and out of character, I ordered her DVD online, like before the show was even over. And I got it pretty fast and watched it open-mouthed because everything that they were talking about just made so much sense to me in a way. I think that's when I call that my official wake-up moment. And it sparked so much curiosity that I spent a couple years reading a couple of books a week about the same principles, about the power of positive thinking, about how our thoughts create our feelings, which create our actions, and the only thing that we really can control are our thoughts. So if it all begins with thought, then wow, the power that we have, it's amazing. And believe me, my life has been in the toilet before. I've been to hell and back. Luckily, I had already sobered up, and I've been sober for about 7.5 years now. I used to drink like an old-time sailor, and I felt it was just out of hand, and decided to give that up. I didn't go to treatment, and I didn't go to AA. What I did was got on my hands and knees, and I prayed to God for help. And He gave it to me. He really did. I woke up the next morning without a desire to drink. None whatsoever. And it's been 7.5 years, so it's pretty amazing if you ask me. So after my big reading adventures, well, I'm still reading, so that's never over. We actually formed this thing called a Mastermind Alliance, where we read these books about success and creative energy and things like Outwitting the Devil. We've read The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. We've read Marianne Williamson, The Return to Love, that sort of thing. And the ladies in this group are higher energy, they're living in a higher consciousness, and so am I. So we get together, and whenever the two or more gather together in that same kind of energy, it creates awesome things. So that's what we're doing with that. But one of the guys in The Secret, he was talking about vision boards, and I thought that was an interesting idea, and I started making my own, just like one after another, and I just thought the cutting, of out magazines, and you can find positive images and words in any magazine, trust me, I've looked through them all. But I just started making them, and I just became alive, just the joy I felt inside by putting these pieces together. And I think it's funny, my mom is a big quilter, and she makes memory quilts, and she pieces fabric together about your past, and I piece magazine clippings together about your future. I think that's interesting. Most of us are trying to look for ways we're not like our mother, but okay. So, did all that reading. I'm finding it very difficult to talk and create this at the same time. Part of this process is tuning in. So I really want to tune in to the Detroit Mission Ministries while I'm creating this, and I will show you pictures like along the way. How does that sound? And right now what I'll do is I'll tell you where I've been and where I am now, so that you can understand, no matter where you're at, that you have the power inside of you to be and do whatever you want to do. So I guess the most important piece of my past is I was sexually abused when I was 7 by my father. It happened one time when he had taken me on a trip to Philadelphia, and I was 7, so he never told me to keep quiet about it or anything. I just didn't know what had really happened, and I kept my mouth shut until I was about 15 years old. And I sprang it on my mother, who confronted our dad, and he, wasn't denying it. So she decided at that time to get a divorce, and now she's been remarried to somebody for 25 years now, so I think that's pretty awesome. But anyhow, I did not know how to deal with that. So I drank. I drank at parties, and I always had tons and tons and tons of friends because, I had to make sure, I had someone to party with all the time. So I carried on that way until I was about 35. And my daughter was 8 years old at the time. And I managed to not, make it a big deal around her. But when she went with her dad, which was every 3 nights, that was my time to whoop it up. So I basically felt like shit, every 3 days because of the partying. And one night I did something that I felt was so far out of my character that I just knew that I should never, ever, ever drink again. And I prayed to God for help, and he gave it to me. It's been 7.5 years, and it's just not something that I desire anymore. So the power of asking for help. And then a few years later, because I still smoke cigarettes, and I just thought, well, if it worked for drinking, let me ask for help with this. And I haven't smoked in over 4 years now too. So, and that is from asking God for help and him giving it to me. So, since I was sober and then I was waking up feeling so good every day, that was something new. It was wonderful, and so when I saw The Secret and started reading all those other books, it was just time. I had clarity, and it was just time for me to soak in all that information. And after I made so many vision boards for myself, I started making them for other people, and that was really, really joyful, because just to sit here because I would clip for each person, because there was always specific things that I was looking for, and I would always find them, but that's another story. And then when I wasn't really telling anybody that I was making these. I just made them, and I put them in a nice frame, and surprised them with it. And the looks on their faces, it was just priceless. I mean, many, many, many burst into tears just from looking at other life's possibilities all pieced together. And I made 70 framed pieces in 1 year and gave them all away. And I started making them for nonprofits and other businesses. I kind of foisted it on people. A few, I did a rescue mission. They had one that I had donated, sitting, back in the storeroom. So went on, I picked it back up, said, hey, give that back. And then after about a year of that, somebody said, why don't you make a business out of this? And so the wheels were turning, and I thought, okay, well, I'll start advertising for personalized visual bucket lists, where I have some questions for you, you answer, I make it. And then it turned into mugs and journals, and it's been about 3.5 years since I started developing this business. And just since the mastermind group, though, I've spoken to Terry Grawl from Enchanted Makeovers, and then another lady developing that, Jane, called me and asked me to do a design with her logo. And then Laura Raymond called me, who has been making vision boards she calls them vision maps, and I like that too, because she explained to me how a board was static, but a map puts you somewhere. And I'm going to ask her, if I might start using that, as I like that a lot. But she has been making these for 30 years, and she said she's never met anyone who had the passion for it like she did. And that meant so much to me because I do feel a passion for this. So I want to share it so much with everyone because my life, it was just so different before, and until I realized how much power I had inside of me, that I just want you to know that. I mean, you have it too. It's not just me. We can just awaken those things inside of us, that because everyone has a gift, and that's what this is about for you. Is I want anyone that is going to be in this creative room for Enchanted Makeovers to go and look at these, and the idea is to keep looking and look a little deeper too, and each time you come upon it, you're going to see something new, and you're going to read words in a different direction, and that's going to give you a message that day. Just pay attention to these messages that you see here, because it's all going to mean something. Something on these two pieces is going to mean something to somebody, and you're actually going to feel like, wow, this was made just for me. And that's what I learned too in the process of making all those vision boards for people, personalized ones, and for businesses and nonprofits. It became an intuitive process. So that's why I really can't talk about me while I'm doing this for you. So I just wanted to tell you something quick about me, and then I'll give you some shots as I go along. Okay, thanks. I really wanted to get closer so that you could see better. Experience the breakthrough. I like that. Notice the lady's wearing a crown, of course. Here's the first one. Every piece is cut with joy and love. This is my gift. And what's funny about it is I never did anything artistic until about 6 years ago. And I'm 43, so that's a long time. So if you think, well, I'm not artistic, or I've never done anything like this, it doesn't have to be this, but it could be something. You never know what is swirling around inside of you, until you try something new. So I hope you got a good view. Thanks, people.